Hi, Todd here from Urban Sound Studio, and today we're taking a look at the iconic Roland SH-101 synthesizer through the use of the Behringer MS-1. Now, the Behringer MS-1 is based on the original Roland SH-101 synth, and they sound extremely similar. During points where there are modifications or differences between the two, I will make sure to point that out. Now, this is going to be a series of 4 different videos. In this first video, we'll explore the oscillator, the source mixer, and the envelope section. By the end, you'll understand why this 1980s synthesizer lasted all through the 1990s and even into 2020. When you first start, pull all your faders down except for filter frequency and envelope sustain. Let's bring up a saw wave in the source mixer and get our instrument in tune. Right now, if we switch the VCA to gate, it sounds the same as if it's set to envelope. Let's bring up the attack. Increase the attack time to swell the start of the note. Now bring up the release for a more natural sound. Try a longer attack and decay time together. Now compare to the gate where we first started. It's a totally different sound. Sustain determines how loud a note is as it's held down. And if we bring the sustain down, decay can be used to determine the pluckiness of our sound. With some added release, it'll create a realistic pizzicato type sound. Right now, the envelope is set to gate and trigger. It re-triggers an envelope for every key press. In gate mode, a new envelope is triggered after the current one is done, and a new note will sound only if it falls below the held note. LFO also works the same way, with the lower note taking priority, but the LFO speed will determine when a new envelope is triggered. The LFO rate was not on the original SH-101, but allows you to quickly flip between different LFO speeds on the Behringer, which is super cool during performances. Let's go back to gate trigger, bring down the LFO, and listen to the difference between a saw and pulse wave. When set to manual, pulse width alters the width of the pulse wave. This is great during a live performance. But we also have the ability to control this with an LFO. Bring the pulse width all the way up. At a high rate, it becomes an audible frequency that you can tune to the oscillator. When set to envelope, the envelope settings control the pulse width. And you can set the VCA to gate, so a key press determines the sounding of a note, but the envelope is reserved to control the pulse width. Let's make a few adjustments back to our starting point and now explore the triangle wave. Now, the triangle wave control wasn't located on the original SH-101, but was available on the 3340 VCO. Therefore, this was actually a modification that people did to vintage SH-101s, but it is available when you purchase a Behringer MS-1. The triangle wave is mellow, but combine it with other sources in your mixer to help it cut through. Our range switch determines the octave in which our VCO sounds. And the transpose switch essentially does the same thing, but instead of transposing the VCO, it actually transposes the keyboard. We will talk more about this when we explore the filter. We also have a sub-oscillator. And the sub-oscillator is just a square wave, and if we compare it to the pulse wave down an octave, they sound very similar. We can also set the sub 2 octaves down, or 2 octaves down with a narrow pulse. Listen to 2 octaves down with some other sources mixed in. Let's bring our sources down and listen to the noise. Noise will generate the same noise source no matter where you trigger it. Let's bring the attack down, a little less release for a snare type sound. An upblast is the ability to mix any external audio that is plugged into the back of the unit. This external input was not located on the original SH-101. Be sure to check out the next video where we explore the filter and VCO pitch modulation.